In the next section, we're going to talk about additional arguments that you can convey to your broker that can help your broker negotiate lower premiums. The next section is regarding safety arguments. And again, these are arguments about your business, about how your safety practices are different or better than others in your industry. And so this should be conveyed to underwriters, and that can help you lower your premium because you'll be perceived as a better risk. Anything you have, by the way, in writing that you can convey, especially electronically, to your brokers, who can then send it on to the underwriters, you should do that. You should send safety manuals. You should say, if you have a safety incentive plan that you can email to your broker, you should send all of it because it can help lower your premiums. So we're going to talk first about frequency of safety meetings. This should be conveyed, obviously, to your broker. This is pretty obvious. How often do you hold safety meetings? What is the duration of the meetings? Who is required to attend? What are the topics that you talk about? All of this should be conveyed to your broker to help convince the underwriter that you're a superior risk. What is the responsibility and supervisor involvement? Sometimes all the way up to the owners get involved in the safety program because they see it as so critical. And if that's the case, you should convey that to your broker, who can send it on to the underwriter. But express what the supervisor involvement is in terms of the safety program. The more top management involved, the better, obviously. And so that should be expressed. And also, if there's some responsibility for safety, where if supervisors are in fact compensated or penalized to some degree because of the safety program or safety results in their department, that should be expressed to the brokers as well. Safety incentive plans. We've seen dozens of safety incentive plans that clients have put together. These can be very effective, but it seems that every single one is different depending on the culture and the nature of the business that has put them together. We haven't seen two safety incentive plans that are the same. So for example, we've seen very small incentives where there are small prizes available every month or so to employees if they have no lost time injuries. We've also seen significant compensation agreements where perhaps every quarter employees may receive the equivalent of an extra paycheck in a raffle if their group has suffered no lost time injuries. That is, by the way, that's the way safety incentive plans should work, we believe. You should never penalize an employee for actually having an injury and going to the doctor. You don't want to hide claims. You only want to gauge a safety incentive plan based on reducing lost time injuries. But medical treatment should never be punished. There should always be a reason to go to the doctor. You should encourage employees to go to the doctor. That should never be a disincentive based on the safety incentive plan. Behavior-based safety, this is actually a quite complicated area, but for larger employers, they have sometimes implemented what is called behavior-based safety, which is a methodical way of looking what the employees do day to day and what really causes injuries. And so obviously if you've implemented a behavior-based safety plan, you want to convey that to the broker. If it's not in writing, you want to convey it in great detail to the broker to pass on to the underwriter. Frequency of inspections. How often does someone in your firm actually take a tour of your plant or your operation to look for hazards? And what do they use to do so? Do they use a checklist? Do they use a buddy system where you have two people walking the grounds, talking about it, keeping an eye on each other to make sure that neither one of them misses something and it doesn't become kind of a routine procedure that really isn't very effective at identifying hazards? So outline what you do, how often you do it to look for hazards in your operation. Training of new hires, obviously very, very critical. The greater the extent, duration, and the topics that are addressed in your operation, the better, obviously, and you want to convey that to your broker. If you have, again, anything in writing, you can send electronically. That would be preferred. But if not, convey in great detail to the broker what those things are that you're doing in terms of training that can help an underwriter consider you a better risk, a safer risk, because your employees are more experienced in terms of avoiding claims. Attendance at safety meetings. A lot of employers have safety meetings tied around release of paychecks. That tends to encourage the employees to show up. But how do you encourage or incentivize attendance at the safety meetings? Do you record it? Most employers do record attendance and have records of it, but convey that to the broker because that can indicate a seriousness about your safety program. Last issue is involvement of the insurance company. What support are you getting from the insurance company now that you would like to continue? Possibly what additional support would you like to see from the insurance company? And the more specific you can be, the more detailed you can be in that request, the better. That again shows that you're an employer who cares a great deal about safety, and that will go over well with underwriters.